Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year to all of you. And I thought that this year's first video could be a nice little tutorial video. I was working on the Crusades campaign map, and I thought that it would be nice to make a little tutorial about how to add a region into Rome Remastered. And essentially, it's the same principle as adding a region in the original Rome Total War, but it's just Rome Remastered. So let's do this. So as you can see, I've ported all of the regions from the original Crusades map. So things are very dense, especially in the sort of Crusader state coastline here. And things are less dense up here in Southern Asia Minor and in Egypt. So I have a lot of work to do in order to make things balanced. Now, the region we're going to be adding today is Pias. Pias, of course, a castle town located right here near the Bay of Alexandretta. So let's do this. As you can see nearby, we have a couple of provinces. We have Mamistra and we have Antioch. So this is going to be an Antioch town, controlled by Antioch at the start of the campaign, which of course begins in 1103 AD, which is the year that Bohemund of Antioch was returned to Antioch by the Danishmends, who had captured him in battle earlier. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so here we are in File Explorer. And this is the Crusade campaign folder, the campaign folder for my Crusades regional campaign. And here are the text files that we have to edit. So we have to edit Desker regions, and we have to edit Desker strat. And we also have to edit map regions, which is a TGA file which contains the map with different colors that indicate which regions are which and where ports are and where settlements are. So, but there is one file we have to edit in addition to all these, and that is this text file right here, Crusade Campaign Regions and Settlement Names. So as you can see, I have another one. I have Imperial Campaign Regions and Settlement Names, and this is the Regions and Settlement Names text file for the Chivalry Grand Campaign, their early era campaign. And these first two words correspond to the name of your campaign folder, the name of your campaign that you saw earlier. So let's open Crusade Campaign Regions and Settlement Names, and let's edit this text file first before going back to the other folder. And here we are in the Crusade Campaign Regions and Settlement Names text file. And as you can see, I have already added 3 settlements here. I've added Korikos region, Anamurion region, and Kalonoros region. So now we're going to be adding Pias. So let us type in the region name that I have planned. So Pias R, that's going to be our region name. And we're going to call it Portella. That's going to be the region name. And then for the city name, let's call it Pias. And Pias, there you have it. So remember, when you want to space out the actual text that shows up in game from the code text, what I do is I tab out instead of making spaces, because I don't want spaces that I don't want to see in the campaign map. So now that this is done, let's go back to the campaign folder. All right, so here we are in the Desker regions text file. That's again in the campaign folder that we saw earlier. And this is a list of the regions, the faction creators for the region, the settlement name, the rebels, the color code for your region. We'll talk about this later. The hidden resources for your region, the fertility, the triumph points, which don't matter, and the religious breakdown of your settlement. So we're going to go down here And we're going to copy Kalonoros region, which is one of the regions I added recently. And we're going to change the name to Payas R for the region. We're going to call the settlement Payas because that's what I called it in the code, in the text file. And then for the faction creator, I'm going to call it Antioch. And then the rebels, right now as placeholders, I just have Orthodox, Christians, and then the color code, we'll get back to this in a bit. And then Crusader State hidden resource. Again, I'll be editing that later. Fertility 5, I'll change fertility to 3, put it a little bit down. Payas was not a huge settlement. And then for the religious breakdown, 10% Islam, 90% Orthodoxy. I'd say that's fine. It's going to have a pretty small population in any case. So now let's move on to the map.regions.tga file. All right, so here we are in the map.regions.tga file, and here you can see actually the province breakdown of the Crusades map. Now, I have only added a few provinces in Southern Asia Minor. I added Anamurian Castle. I added Kalonoros. And I added Korikos. I added Korikos. Now, we're going to add Payas, right? So let's zoom in on where Payas should be, which is around here at the tip of the bay of Alexandretta. So this is, I believe, the province of Mamistra, and we're going to take land from the province of Mamistra and give it to Payas region here, which we call Portela. So let's take a color. All of these regions have specific color codes, RGB color codes. And remember, in the Desker regions, there was a line in the code for each region where you have to put in the RGB color code, and that's how the game understands which region is which. Okay, so let us actually place our settlement first. So black just 0, 0, 0. That is the color of the cities on the map in map.regions.tga. So let's put Payas in this square, and this is pixel by pixel editing here. And then for the port, let's put the port. It doesn't really matter that much. Let's put it over there. And now let's choose, I suppose, what's a good color? I suppose this bluish color is nice enough. Or let's go for a pinkish color. So now this color is the color of another region. So what we want to do is change the color slightly for the color code for each one very slightly. And unless you're extremely unlucky, that you will get a unique color out of this. If you end up choosing a color that is actually the color code of another region, the game will crash and it will tell you it can't create that region. So you'll at least know. But the odds of this being the color of another region are extremely low, as you might see. It only has to be one number different in any one of these categories than every single other region. So let's go with this pinkish color. And let's color it in. So for Payas region, I suppose we will color in this much territory. This is not going to be a huge region. This is basically going to be one of the mountain passes in the Amanus Mountains, right on the coast here. So again, I'm just being careful. If you actually color in one of the sea tiles, the game will not work. It does not like that. So here is our region of Payas, at Payas Castle. So now what we're going to do is we're going to export this. We're going to export this as a map regions TGA, and we're going to overwrite our old map regions TGA file. And there you have it. So now we're going to go back to Desker regions and input this color, which is 182, 53, and 156. Okay, so we're back in Desker regions, and we have to put in our color code. So we have Pias region here, and as we saw before, our code was 182, 53, and 156. All right, so let's save this and we'll move on to Desker Strat. So here we are in the Desker Strat.txt file in our Crusade campaign folder. And we're going to, like I said before, Pias is going to be a region for Antioch. So let's find Antioch in the file. Right now, Antioch just has Antioch region. Again, all of this is going to be rebalanced, and the character names are going to be changed, of course. And, of course, in Desker Strat, you set the level of the settlement. You set the region name, you set the population, and you set the faction creator. So the level of Pias is going to be town for now. And the region, I'm going to call it Pias region like it is in the code. So you only put the region code here. You don't put the settlement code. Population is going to be 1,000. And then faction creator, I'm going to make it Antioch. And then for the building, I'll add more buildings later, but the building for now is going to be a governor's house because that is the governor's building for town level settlements. Okay, you want to make sure that this governor's building is synced up to the level of the city. Okay, make sure that's correct, or else you might get some instability. Okay, so now let's open the game and check out our new region. One thing I want to mention is that before you try to load up your map again after adding a region, you must delete the map.rwm file in your campaign folder. All right, and we are back on our campaign map, and as you can see, we now have a new region, Pias Castle, region name Portella, like we put in the code, and it is controlled by Antioch, the Principality of Antioch, and its population is mostly Orthodox, which is like how we put that in the code. So that's pretty much exactly how you add a region in Total War Rome Remastered. So I hope to see all of you giving it a shot, because modding Rome Remastered is not that hard. As you can see, I did all that with no special tools, just Notepad. I didn't even use Notepad++, just use Notepad. Just use the free GIMP image editor for the map regions.tga. And boom, above Antioch, we now have the small town of Pias. So, in case you're interested in more tutorial videos about Rome Remastered, please let me know in the comments down below. I am not the greatest modder of all time, but I want to see more people get into Rome Remastered modding because it's quite easy and it's quite fun, and I think you'll find it enjoyable. So, if you enjoy videos about the historical Total Wars and their mods, consider subscribing to the channel, consider liking this video, and I'll see you in the next one later.